The US Department of Commerce publishes the numbers that move global markets: GDP, inflation, consumer demand, and since August last year, it's also been publishing them straight into public blockchains. Guess what? Through Chainlink. And this is not a pilot, but the actual figures in a format a smart contract can read, updating on the government's normal release schedule. So let me explain what it actually is and why it's a lot more interesting technically than it just sounds. The data comes from the Bureau of Economic Analysis. That's the agency inside the Commerce Department that produces America's official economic statistics, so it's the real source and not just a third party that's repackaging things. 3 indicators went on-chain. First, we have the real GDP, which is the inflation-adjusted size of the economy. Second, the PCE price index, which measures consumer inflation. And this one matters more than people realize because the PCE is the Federal Reserve's preferred inflation gauge, not CPI. And as third, something called real final sales to private domestic purchasers, which basically strips the noise out of GDP to show you the underlying domestic demand. Each of those comes in 2 forms, a level and a percentage change, so 6 data points in total. They update monthly or quarterly, matching the BEA's own release calendar, and they went live across 10 different chains, including Ethereum, Base, Arbitrum, Optimism, and Avalanche. Now let's go to the part I actually want you to take away from this video. Every explanation of oracles you've ever watched uses a price feed as the example. Ethereum to dollars, that kind of thing. And the problem Oracle solves in that situation is very specific. There's no single true price for Ethereum. There are dozens of exchanges that all show slightly different numbers, and the Oracle's job is to pull from all of them and aggregate them so that nobody can manipulate the results by attacking one exchange. Government data completely breaks that model, because there's exactly one authoritative source here. The BEA publishes a number, and that number is the number. There's nothing to aggregate. There's no market to manipulate. If you want to know US GDP, you could just go read the BEA website yourself. So what is the Oracle even doing? It's solving a different problem, which is delivery and integrity. A smart contract can browse a website. It can't open a PDF. It has no way to reach outside its own chain at all. So the job here isn't finding truth amongst many sources, it's taking one figure from one publisher, getting it into a form a contract can read, putting it on 10 chains at once, and proving that nobody changed it along the way. And that matters far beyond just one example, because that's the model almost all RWA assets data is going to use. Fund NAVs, property valuation, credit ratings, insurance data. None of these things have a market price either. They have an authoritative issuer, so this is a template. As for what it's supposed to unlock, the pitch was pretty concrete. Inflation-linked products where your yield tracks the actual PCE print. Prediction markets that settle automatically on the official GDP figure with no committee sitting there deciding who won. Lending protocols that tighten collateral requirements when growth data starts deteriorating without needing a government vote. All genuinely useful and all quite hard to build cleanly without a trusted on-chain source for the underlying number. Whether much of that actually got built in the year since is a fair question, and honestly not one I'm going to answer from a press release, but the feeds are public so you can go check the read counts yourself. Here's the bit that actually affects you if you're investing from, let's say, Europe. There is no European equivalent. HICP, which is the inflation measure the ECB actually targets, isn't published on-chain by any official European source. Neither is a Eurozone GDP from Eurostat. And the gap isn't technical because the technology is demonstrably working right now on 10 chains from a different government. It's institutional. The US government department decided this was worth doing, and European statistics or statistical agencies haven't. Which means that European on-chain markets end up being built on American macro data, simply because that's the data that exists in a usable form. Real infrastructure running for about a year now on a generally different trust model than the price feeds everyone points at when they explain oracles. What gets built on top of it is a thing worth watching. Sources are down in the description if you want to dig in yourself. If you want to learn more, please subscribe. If you have questions, let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers. Bye-bye.